Hello, Google Cloud community, and welcome back to our exclusive series with the Google Cloud team, Passport to Containers. My name's Savannah Peterson, very excited to bring you two fantastic guests in this continuing series. This time, we get to talk to a little bit of a customer as well. Farhan and Drew, thank you so much for taking the time today.
My pleasure.
It is a busy week. I would be remiss not to mention that we're here at Google Cloud Next. So big celebration of all things Google this week, though the content of this interview is going to be evergreen. Since Bobby has done nothing but bring me fantastic stories of interesting people, he's batting 1,000 on that one. Keep it up, Bobby, we love it. I would love for each of you to tell me a little bit about your role, but answer a question that him and I both love, which is, why did you fall in love with tech? And Drew, I'll start with you, because then I've got a follow-up question for Farhan after he goes.
Yeah, and really looking forward to this. Is great. So I think my role right now is running all of Kubernetes and Serverless, which includes Cloud Run,
Small
App
job.
Engine. Yes, it is. I had a lot less gray hair before I took over this role. It was long and luxurious, and but no, it's been great because I've seen so much transformation from when it's OSS beginnings. Even when I joined GK, it was a very tiny product. And now, you were at KubeCon last week, and it's literally tens of thousands of people in conferences around the globe. So I think also that's one of the reasons I came back from Google. I was in the ads business for years.
I saw you did a boomerang.
I did, which is rare, but I came back purely for Kubernetes. We were using Kubernetes at the startup I was at. I'm like, this is amazing. And I also thought, oh my God, this is a nightmare. Like, it was not easy to use.
Complex.
It was complex.
Oh my God.
And the end result was great, but getting there was a struggle. The struggle is definitely real to get there. So when I had the opportunity to rejoin Google, work on this, I'm like, A, this is such a big challenge. B, I can only go up from the nightmare that was Kubernetes many, many years ago. So that's really why I'm here. So.
Well, and things have gotten so much easier. It must feel good for you to look around these rooms and see everyone.
It really does. There's less, like, when I chat with Farhan, he's less angry with me over the years, right?
Slowly but surely.
Slowly,
Yeah.
slowly.
You've
It's
still
not
got
quite there.
some ground to
Got
cover.
things to fix.
So there'll be some interesting questions he'll always answer honestly, but it has improved a lot. Like, the challenges with, like, Kelsey Hightower's Kubernetes the hard way is how I learned, and that was a nightmare, but it really taught you the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
And finding the people who use Kubernetes now, they don't even worry about that stuff. Unless you reach the scale of like Shopify, it's just not there because it works, versus the olden days, to age myself, it just took a lot of effort, and I'm super proud of what all the teams and the OSS community have accomplished to make that easier. So.
Cannot agree with you more, and
No.
very well stated. On that note, Farhan, tell us about you. When did you fall in love with tech? What brings you here
I
today?
mean, I've been a nerd my whole life. Like, I was taking apart
Same.
like my
Speaking
toys,
my language, man.
taking
Yeah.
apart my like speakers and trying to get the magnets out. And my parents brought home an XT.
I had an XT.
I'm dating
Yeah.
myself in 1988 when I was 14, and the first thing I did was take it apart. Then I put it back together.
I'm
I
sure
freaked
they
them
loved
out.
it.
No, they hated that because of course it was like $2,000.
Did it work
And
again?
Of course, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
And
All
then
right.
the other thing was it came with a giant DOS manual, and I just went, as you would, page by page.
Oh,
And
you did? You read it?
I read the DOS manual, every command, and like, what are you doing? I'm like,
the
reading
person
DOS
who
manual.
wrote that is feeling so seen
Yes.
right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't know, I was riveted. I just
Yeah.
read the DOS manual. Like, that's what I wanted to do for fun.
So
That's
how does that take us to where you are now and what you're working on at Shopify?
Well, I mean, like, I'm like, I'm a hacker and a nerd. I want to fix things for people. And so what Shopify is here to do is like remove the toil, right, from getting people to be entrepreneurs. And so I like at the beginning you said, just a little customer, Shopify. Like our goal, I mean, we're Canadian, and so we like to be
Yeah,
the
we're
brand.
both Canadian, actually.
I know.
So
love
Yes.
we're
this,
outnumbered.
love this.
I know, and we want to be the brand behind the brand. So many times you're shopping online, you had a great experience, and then you're like, I wonder like how that all came together. And like, me in the corner is like, powered by Shopify.
Yeah.
Because we want those merchants to be front and center and their brands to shine through, and we want to be in the back making it easy for them.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed there's, as you walk into the massive show floor here, there's actually a sign about how you're making that customer experience better as one of those marquee narratives that you all are working on. So far, I'm staying with you. Talk to me about the partnership with Google. How long have you been hanging out with Drew? How long has he been annoying you?
Answer
with
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, so we've been on Google Cloud since about 2018. We had our own data centers before that. We made the decision to move to Google Cloud, made it very quickly, moved everything. So I would like to say 99% Google Cloud because we have an acquisition here or there that might be on another system. But it's a great partnership. Like when you say little, I think it's funny because we are such a big part of commerce in the US, and we have to talk all the time because when something happens, we're like, this is coming, and Google's like, no problem, can handle it. We're like, cool. But this is coming, no problem.
Yeah.
And so we work together to kind of handle these crazy sales that happen, especially like a Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which is for us, all year planning event to make sure it all goes smoothly.
How many merchants are you supporting in the United States?
Millions.
Yeah.
Yeah, many millions,
Yes,
I would assume.
many millions, and again, we always tell people, if you were online, you buy something and it was a good experience, it's probably Shopify.
Oh, casual.
Casual.
That's how the Canadians
Casual,
do the
that's a
flex.
Canadian flex,
Okay,
Canadian
okay.
flex.
Yeah.
We're humble most of the time, and then sometimes.
If it was a good
I
experience,
was
yeah.
at a startup event last night, and one of the SaaS providers is running on Shopify.
Yep.
It was some tire startup in California, and they were talking with their front end. I'm like, you should try Shopify. I'm like, we're using it.
Yep.
So they were doing all their optimization behind the scenes and using you for the front end, which is awesome.
Amazing. Like a good
Yeah.
example, I'll throw a little flex in
Please.
because yesterday at the one of the Google keynotes, Malcolm Gladwell was speaking, and I got to like randomly sit there and have lunch with him.
Oh, cool.
Amazing.
And I was looking at his shoes, and I was like, those are on Shopify.
Wow, you even know all the SKUs.
Tracksmith.
I,
Yeah.
I love that you even know that. What a great
Do you have
anecdote.
a sneaker
Now we're-
obsession? Like,
I
is
do,
that
no,
why
I
you're-
do not.
okay.
He was just telling me how he loves
Because I
these
know
shoes.
there's some sneaker obsessions
His
in
line
Shopify.
was,
So
serious runners run with Tracksmith. I'm like, cool, and I looked it up.
Okay.
I have to look it up.
that's pretty cool.
I love that. I am a sneakerhead.
Hey.
Okay.
My sneakers are actually Google themed. You'll see. I
okay.
wish I
Ooh,
could
those are
show them
good.
on camera. We'll show them on
Okay.
camera at some point today.
That may be a
So,
little
it's not
awkward trying to get
not
them
in the
up.
appropriate
The post-cut, so,
outfit to
yeah.
show my sneakers right now. However, that said, I'm here for the sneaker stories.
Okay.
The thing that you just so casually flexed a little bit there, though, that great experience that you're talking about
Yeah.
has a lot to do with data and with inference. And so, Drew, tell me a bit about how y'all are focused on that and delivering solutions like the one that Shopify deploys.
Yeah, it's really changed a lot because if we look at what we've done with Shopify for years, and actually I'll come back with one sneaker story,
Yes.
where we've looked at how to make commerce run really well for them because the sheer volume that goes through the platform, not just in BFCM, but through flash sales, like sneaker sales, a number of vendors you know who are Instagram influencers, the spikes that Shopify would see was immense, but if their system couldn't handle it in a very short period of time, it was gone.
Yeah.
And the amount of damage to their merchants was huge, and they really pushed us and pushed their own Eng teams to do things that were just unheard of. And even on the GKE side, we're like, what do you mean it's going to be a random spike that's at the same level of BFCM for 15 minutes? So we've had to do a lot of that on regular commerce, but where for inference, it's the same thing. It's very similar, so you can use your same skills, but completely different. Because inference doesn't behave the same way. It really
Right.
comes down to where it's not predictable. It can be random in terms of the needs, the latency, the more complex the answers that the merchant tasks want, it's going to be really variable, and a lot of the teams aren't ready for it to take a long period of time or very short, and then the systems can't handle it. So for us, it's once again, how do we simplify it, but how do we get Kubernetes and GKE, so community and within Google, running well so that people like Shopify don't have to spend all their time optimizing how to get inference running well. And it's a learning experience, just like AI, there's a lot of trial by error. We're announcing a couple of things this week, but we learned by seeing what horribly didn't work, and Shopify's been a great partner because they give us very direct feedback.
And the joke is that the SREs at Google are Shopify reliability
Yeah.
engineers, not the site reliability engineers. Yeah, just
They need some more sneaker swag or
Yes,
some stickers,
exactly.
and then they'll be a little more
Well,
loyal.
because you hit
but
the
yeah.
nail on the head when you've got like not just influencer, a celebrity, musician, drops like new merch, new album, new lipstick, new pantyhose, and all of a sudden we're like, what's going on? And we just see crazy spikes, and it's there, you're right, 10 minutes, 30
Yeah.
minutes, and if you don't serve those customers, they're gone.
Yeah.
Because they want the items, and so it's a super fun challenge. It allows us to have these cool conversations like,
Yeah.
are you seeing this? Are you seeing this?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Yeah, and it's fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's got to keep you on your toes, you know, with the BFCM, Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Yeah.
We know it's coming. I used to work in 3D printing e-commerce. You know it's
Yeah.
coming. You're prepared. You've battened the hatches. You've got everyone, you know, every reliability engineer you can possibly have on deck in those moments. But with this, it is really, it's sporadic. It's staccato. If it was a song, it's kind of all over the map, and that's why this ability. This is why Google Cloud's such an interesting partner, in my opinion, is the ability to expand and adapt to those needs when they happen.
It's a true partnership. Like I'll tell you a funny example. We do scale tests all throughout the year to make sure we get ready for Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Some surprise ones.
Some surprise ones, 'cause sometimes we're like,
and I know all of them.
And they're like, can you run it at night? Like, can we try it in the day? Because we're just trying different things to make sure the infrastructure works. And it's again, back and forth, and we tell them, hey, we're going to run this thing. What do you see on your side? What do we see on our side? And they will fix stuff, we'll fix stuff, so the next test is even more smooth.
And I think on that, that's probably been the best part of us working together, where it's so edge to edge. Right? It's not like, here's a roadmap, because Farhan will be like, that's great, but here's the roadmap we need. And a lot of it's going back and forth and iterating quickly and actually changing Kubernetes, and they've been very active in the OSS community for years because it needs to actually reach Shopify at scale, so it's been a good back and forth in making things better.
Yeah, I can imagine. When you're collaborating like this, I'm sure you've had a bit of trial and error along the way. We're all learning together. And you've had the opportunity to work together now for many years. One of the points of this series is to really make sure that we leave the audience with some actionable takeaways. Are there some key lessons that you've learned or some pro tips that you can share with the group? Farhan, I'll start with you.
I mean, one of the things that I tell folks is that, like, we use Slack for our communication, we have internal channels, external channels. I kind of just treat them the same. Like, sometimes I just go in an external channel and say, hey, folks, like, here's what's coming up. Why are we not thinking? And people are like, oh, I don't know if you'd know, but you posted it in the one with Google. I'm like, I did that on purpose. Like, they're our partners. We're not. There's not a secret here. I'm trying to let them know where we're going, what's maybe some big merchants coming on or a big sales happening, and we can trust them with that information so we can make sure the infra is ready. So I think that's a big part of it, is not trying to feel like our team, their team. It's just like one team.
And no silos. I mean, you're going to build it together and stronger together.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is that the world's always changing, so we're also trying to share, like, like Toby sent out this thing about the AI reflexivity as a concept, and Google's asking us, what does that mean for you guys? How are your employees embracing grabbing AI as quickly as possible to solve a problem, not just talking about GKE all the time, and not just talking about how we serve, but how our employees work together.
Yeah, and I think really to mirror it, you've got to try it. I think especially on the AI side, the GK teams really try to embrace all the Gemini models with what we're doing for Code Assist or Cloud Assist. We've been working on for a while, and the initial experience was horrible. To be honest, like, AI is not magic. It takes work, it takes iteration, it takes failure.
Takes prompting.
Takes some prompting, takes some more failure, but actually just playing with all the new tech before the customers are, so you can go through the problems yourself, keeps you current, but also keeps you really honest.
Yeah.
And that's where, on the AI side, we're trying to do this within the GKE team in every role. Product management, product ops, and tech writing, how do we use it? Because then we can actually understand where the limitations are, and that's been fabulous.
And we'll push them to be like, we heard you announce this thing, it's not ready yet, can we try it?
Yeah.
Like, even before, because we want to see, again, and we're not going to say, oh, this sucks. Like, we want to see, and we want to give you feedback, and we want to try it early. We are very, very early adopters. We want to try it right away just to see what happens.
Well, and on the early adoption's been interesting, because AI is, even with the cycle we have with Shopify of trying new things, it shrunk everything so much. Like, one partner, Anthropic, who we work with heavily, it's been pushed down from like, hey, it's going to take a week, to a day, to an hour, to literally pre-release builds, because when NVIDIA does something new, we do something new, Compute does something new, there's a bug, you need to turn around really quickly, because these training runs are expensive. So that's been a complete shift of how fast we can turn it around, which has been, now it's a lot of fun. My eng team probably didn't agree with me for a while. If my eng lead Alex Zakhanov beside me, as I would probably twitch a little, but now we're in a really good state.
One example of that was actually, you had a new CPU type come out, CPU or GPU, I can't remember if it was CPU or GPU, and they go, yeah, we can get you some, we can try it. I'm like, cool, like, yeah, we have 20. I'm like, I can't remember, they said we have 20. I'm like, cool, like 20,000, we should build. No, we have 20.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, 20. I'm like, we'll try it.
Yeah, perfect.
Like, it's not Shopify scale yet, but we can try it, give feedback and see.
And we did. Yeah. We've had a few commerce clients do exactly that, where if they can kick the tires and give us brutal feedback earlier, we can actually work end-to-end with them, which is a lot of fun. So
that is a lot. So what I took from that is stay collaborative and stay curious.
Yeah.
And don't stop playing. I think that's great advice for anyone, no matter where they're starting on their AI or container journey right now.
Reach for AI as quickly as possible.
At all ages. So we were having a discussion earlier, I shouldn't say it aloud, but the other non-Gemini version of AI, having your kids play around with it keeps you honest and giving advice on it too, because it's amazing what we accomplish or vibe coding. Trying it all the time is a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, it definitely is. What do you hope, is hanging out there since you brought up the fam, what do you hope that AI and our current tech revolution does for your families?
One, it's going to teach my son to check secondary sources, so that's probably a good thing. But in all honesty, it opens up programming so much earlier. Like, he does a bunch of Lego robotics, and it's Python, it's very precise, but he can now just start getting experience and learn versus semantics and get better, so it's really encouraging more kids to get into STEM and play. Because before it's so rigid and it can be considered, we're both nerds, like giant nerds.
Also a nerd, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay to speak to your whole nerd desk
but
here.
Being opening up coding to everyone actually really helps. And I think as long as people aren't arrogant about it, it's not true coding. All coding is coding. So I really hope it just gets a new generation more willing to play and not just use Excel or Google Sheets. So
Yes,
Yeah.
there you go. No, I think that's really important. What about you, for the future nerds? What do you hope they get out of
Yeah,
this?
well, I mean, like, so my middle son is very interested in finance, as any 13-year-old boy would be.
Crypto?
Casually.
No, not crypto.
Okay, good.
Actually,
Okay,
like
good.
pure, like rich dad, poor dad, psychology of money, like the old school, like financial.
Wow.
That's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, and so there's a game in Rich Dad, Poor Dad called Cash Flow Quadrant that he found online, and he goes, oh, I kind of want to like change the rules. And I said, let's build it ourselves. And
Oh,
so
that's
we
cool.
vibe coded, built the game, the UI, the players moving across the board. We had like different stock simulations, and then we built a version of it and just vibe coded the whole thing. And he was like, understood what's going back and forth. And we didn't really look at the code. We just like totally vibe coded building a game. And again, it's like shows you what you can do now without having to actually learn all the internals.
I love that. Vibe coding, such a hot
Vibe code.
buzzword
But
right
it's
now.
good because it gets people
Yeah.
just trying things and learning.
Yes.
And it's like they'll also learn when you've got poor architecture and poor design later, but that's part of our experience as well, right?
We restarted many times.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
going
yeah.
direction, let's start over.
Yeah.
Well, I think you bring up a really good point. I mean, it is a little bit of old guard, new guard a bit. I was traditionally TV trained, and then the tubers and the creators and the online folk all came out. The water level rises together. When you've
Yeah.
got more people paying attention, or more people paying attention to how to build or what to build, or knowing that they could build a solution who may have not even thought about it, who cares what type of coding it was?
Yeah.
Let them vibe out, man. I
Yeah.
think that's a really good takeaway. Speaking of hot topics, interesting memo came out from the Shopify CEO recently stating that no new hires unless one can prove that the job cannot be done by AI. Now, I was struck by this because I think it's such an interesting and also powerful move. I know it's a hot conversation in the media, totally. Curious for you on the inside,
Yeah.
what was that like, and talk us through it.
Yeah, so I think that the whole memo is worth reading. There's so many things in there around like what I mentioned earlier, AI reflexivity. How long does it take you to pull AI out as a tool when you're trying to do something? And that one line ended up being the headline, right? Because
Yes.
it's like headcount
Yeah.
related, right? But it's really about the ability to wield the tools, right? If you don't wield the tools, you're going to be like taken out by somebody who does know how to wield the tool. And so our whole goal there is to make sure that the toil of anything that you're working on, whether it's in product, design, engineering, accounting, finance, can be like the parts that are value add, you're working on, but the parts that are not value add, boilerplate code, or hey, let me figure out if there's a prototype with this new language that we should be looking at and we can build something quickly. That's how we think about it. And of course, yes, there's the line of like, well, do you need a new person, or do you just need to know how to use this tool better so that you can actually just be more productive?
Right, and happier.
And happier.
Yeah.
And I'd say the other thing that was interesting for us is the industry and how many more people are sending me like, I love this memo, I wrote a version for my team internal at company X. And I love how people are posting saying we're doing the same thing. And again, not just about like headcount, it's about like productivity and toil reduction and having fun on your job.
I mean, I always say AI is not going to take your job, it's just going to make it suck less.
Yes,
and
I like that line.
and we all have super boring stuff that we are not fans of. I mean, come on, no one has a
Expense
perfect
reports.
job. Literally.
TPS reports.
With
TPS
right?
reports.
Oh,
So-
where is my red stapler?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
You know there's going to be a TPS AI agent at some point coming out.
Oh.
And we're all going to try it. It'll probably be malware, but we're going to try it out,
but
right?
all of us are going to have a good
it'll
laugh.
be nerd bait.
It'll be a
so,
great day on the internet for all of us when that happens. But there are things, and I think the differentiator here is going to be how companies upskill. Because when you have this opportunity like you're opening up there, which is also saying, hey, take a moment and figure out your tooling. I don't think we even give ourselves that much time. You look at a meeting, a week full of meetings and the like, versus saying, whoa, I need a couple hours every Friday to just play and to have my kids touch it and see what they're doing with it. Maybe I'll learn something that makes sense for how to be a better manager or leader, whatever that might be. But I think, so I'm curious, with that little ripple effect that's coming out of that memo, what is the plan to upskill? Do you feel like there's a clear blueprint for the team to know what to do next?
Well, I mean, the number one, you said it earlier, tinker, play.
Yeah.
I really want people to reach for AI and keep one of the things like keep a Gemini tab open like all the time, and so it reminds you to kind of be like, wait a sec, actually, can I use this for something that I'm doing right now? Am I analyzing some data? Do I want to prototype something? Do I want to use build some imagery that I couldn't before? It would take me a long time. There's so much you can do, and I think just playing and tinkering is the first step. Once you get confidence and you feel like I'm getting value here, you will reach for it more instinctively.
Yeah, no, I think that's very sage advice. What challenges are you guys going to accomplish next? Drew, I'll go to you.
I think one of the biggest things is making Kubernetes simple for AI. And I don't mean generically, I mean taking the complexity away so companies like Shopify can do that tinkering and exploring and tackling the new challenges so that our customers don't. But for me, it's doing with the community so it's not lock-in. One of the best things about Kubernetes All Up, you're at KubeCon, everyone's involved, but not everyone's shaping it. So we want to make sure we're actually setting Kubernetes as the platform for AI, because if you don't keep on improving things, to Farhan's comments, people stop using it. So I think that's the biggest challenge, to stay ahead of the needs of end-savvy clients like Shopify and others, and make it a great platform for them.
Yeah. All right, anything else you're taking on in the next year or two?
Yeah, and I think, again, I mentioned our overall mission is to make e-commerce more common, like actually entrepreneurship more common, and make sure that merchants can actually get onto the platform and not stay in our tools. We want them to be building the best products and working with their customers and not sitting in our admin. And so if we can use these tools to allow them to reduce toil, and you mentioned like your line about AI, we say AI replaces tasks, not jobs. So like you can remove that task and actually just be focused on building a great product. That's all we're focused on. And using Google allows us to not have to worry about the infrastructure as much and just like let our entrepreneurs like thrive in our ecosystem.
I think it's good. And continue to have those seamless payment experiences, maybe get rid of our expense reports. Last question for you.
I don't want to overpromise on AI. Yeah. That's going to be the last thing that gets fixed.
Come on, Drew.
I know, I'm trying.
Throw it. We need one for the frequent flyers and heavy travelers amongst us. Last question for you, just because I could not miss the opportunity given that you're both Canadian.
Yeah.
How is the culture of surrounding AI in Canada versus, say, what we're experiencing here in the United States?
Honestly, I think it's more risk adverse. Like Canada.
Interesting.
And you'll back me up in this.
Yeah.
Not within the startup community, I think we've actually got a really vibrant startup community. I work at a Google Waterloo. There's a huge number of startups. The death of BlackBerry was actually great for seeding the market to have tons of people wanting to invest and do new things. So I think that is vibrant. The rest of it, especially on AI, I met with a couple of customers even this morning where they're like, oh, but we can't because of X, Y, and Z. And it's more, let's wait until the issues are resolved. But at that point, it's too late. Like you've got to start playing with multiple versions. You've got to see what's working, and we don't do enough of that. And I think that is actually a problem both within Canadian enterprises and Canadian culture. It means we avoid things like some of the mortgage crises and that, so sometimes being risk averse is good. Right. But especially for AI, it's sad because we have a massive intellectual investment in the universities. Jeffrey Hinton's from there. We've got a lot of Google Brain came from Toronto and Montreal. But then when it comes to our businesses, we're not taking that leap forward. And that's what, for anyone watching, I would love to see more people do that. And just try it, and if it fails, that's okay. We fail. Farhan likes he's failed with some of these things too. And that's how we're getting better, and we need Canadian companies to do more. So.
What a great little
I may not be able to get across the border after that comment, but we're fine, right? So.
We'll always welcome you, and I'm sure they will too. Farhan, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the fundamental AI advances happened in Canada, and then were commercialized by others. And so I think one of the things that, from a culture perspective, is different is, in the US, you'll kind of think what could go right, and in Canada, we kind of what can go wrong.
Yeah.
And so that mindset shift is what we're trying to look for, and the try things, tinker, maybe it fails, maybe you learn something.
Yeah, you always learn.
You're always, that's the theory behind people just trying things, and so there is a thriving ecosystem. I think this is the moment for Canada to be able to actually take that information and be like, hey, why don't we just try more things and see if we can get the productivity that we should be getting in Canada and from Canadian startups. So it's exciting.
It is very exciting. Well, you heard it first here, folks. It's a moment for Canada.
Yes,
it is.
Your sneakers were purchased with Shopify, and there is a lot of exciting stuff going on between Google and all of their partners. Farhan and Drew, thank you so much for taking the time today. Really appreciate it. This was a fun one. It's going to be tough for the rest of the show to keep up with that. And shout out to all of our lovely neighbors to the north up in Canada, to both of your families, and to Bobby and the Google Cloud team for letting us do this exclusive series, Passport to Containers. My name's Savannah Peterson. You're watching theCUBE, the leading source for enterprise tech news.